Sounds seem all fine. Alright, so last time you guys had finished off the long journey of the dragon segmented trail after challenging many other humanoids to combat out in the open or receiving their challenges and somewhat ambushes, as well as completing several different tasks along the way. With many victories on the road, you found yourselves at the top spot, receiving the max amount of parcels of land for the competitors. For Mercy's More, you were able to gain 9 parcels, one of which you decided you were going to hand off towards Commander Praxis and his patron, finding he was the most deserving of the single parcel, as the other one you had in mind needed 2, though they did gain 1, so your one still would have made theirs enough, but you felt it would be best to emancipate the large tribe underneath him. With that parcel of land handed over, and Edwin seething with rage at the thought of it, you have spent the last 2 months with relative rest and relaxation. The domain transference towards Kafura is going along swimmingly, especially as he has dug out the large trench filled into a river towards the east, and with some of it also going into the neighbouring continent, into the kingdom of Akliacton. Though it still takes some time for everything to be processed, so the map hasn't updated too much with the new domain changes. During this time, you've heard a few rumours here or there about the Dragon Slayer still being a not consistent, but every so often threat towards dragonkind. Whilst you seemingly dealt with Lakaji's group, taking away the crossbow and the ammo, you know they were supplied by someone else. And with that information given to other dragons, it is being handled in the background to your best wishes. During this time of rest, you haven't spent it too idly, as you have been going to and fro within Kafura's domain, as well as to the nearby mountains of both north and west of even your own ones, to link up with the different people you have helped along the way or have within your backstories. We will start from left to right on the avatars. So, what is Jazenka doing over these 60 days?
She'll be in Hadderwood for like about a week or so at first, just reconnecting, catching up with Matriona and the locals and helping at the church. But also to prepare for the atonement ritual for Ao for whenever she's ready for it. And after that, she's kind of going back to her previous routine, moving about a lot, to splitting her time between Hadderwood and the Viraj tribe and the Naga in there, and making at least a few trips up north to the Shevas and then west to Shadowrock Hollow to resume correspondence with the Sheva Knights in both areas. Spending a lot of time just spell learning, both on her own and some with Edwin, and helping out with the domain expansion where she can. So she's keeping herself pretty busy as per usual, but spends time with the party when she's around. And in between all of that, she's also just going out into the mountains on her own pretty often. Can be gone for a few days at a time, for either meeting up with the Viraj or coming back to Hadderwood, or going to help at the expansion area in the east. And just doing her own thing. Something she will talk to Edwin about, like maybe a month or half later, but we can circle back to that, as well as the atonement.
All right. What is Edwin doing during this rest time?
Okay. Edwin is doing a few things. Definitely has been looking for an opportunity to speak to Zenka about something, which is where some of the spell learning had come into, but we can again circle to that a bit later on. One of the main things that he would be doing is, rather than just learning the scrolls and finding a teacher to get them, he would be spending a little bit of time during this downtime with the guilds, in order to put out small jobs, very similar to like how we did when we first started out, to go and get the beans, to secure these scrolls, even if it is just going across the country and coming back with them. So trying to give adventurers a means of new starts, as well as if they are looking for cures, he doesn't just give the cure out, he will ask for a payment just so that they don't feel as if they are owed, or they owe him or the party anything in return. Generally, he's going to be spending a bit of time, if Quathra will allow, going to Kindra Lift's domain
Angela.
to help out. Yeah, Kindra Lift. If Quathra will allow, to help set up there using spells like Form Road, Control Water, Stone Shape. I don't know if they have access to those, but just as a sort of envoy of goodwill. But due to teleportation, it's not going to take that long. Barring that, he's going to spend a good amount of time between these activities, and the majority of his time here, researching as much as he can into the Dragon Slayer, their movements, goals, and targets, which is why I've picked up a number of the scrolls I've requested. So we'll see what happens with that as it comes. And he's going to definitely be keeping a few tabs on Dotaro for the context of the vision that many of us shared. But apart from that, he is wanting to spend more time with his party, because it feels like over the last few years we have become professionals and not just friends, although we did get a bit more of a spark at the end of the last adventure. So he's trying to re-bond with people, especially now that many of us are reaching the heights of our potential. There's definitely like a different air, at least to Edwin, in the sense of he's now has access to the highest forms of mortal magic there is. And he's waiting for the atonement ritual, and pretty speaking to Al at some point about the ritual that protects her, but that is something that could be done at any time.
What is Sairin during the 60 days?
Alright, so Zyron is getting a little bit of training in with his own personal improvement, as well as helping out the guards of Hattawood and patrolling the area, keeping an eye on everything in the vicinity, friends, family. He's there to help out with anybody else who has any needs or anything like that. Then he's also going to be maintaining the shrine that he set up a little while back. Mostly just being available for people if they want to come around and check it out or have any questions, and keeping it looking nice and presentable and whatnot. He's wanting to be there for the ritual that Al is going to be undergoing. But other than that, he's just helping people, being around, being in the moment, not really having too many big plans or anything like that. So if anybody wants to talk to him or anything like that, he doesn't have any plans to go running off and do anything like that, but if they want to go somewhere, he's also willing to go with them, just as another layer of protection for them if they wanted it. That's about it.
What is Al during the 60 days?
So she will obviously meet up with the party for when her atonement's going to be taking place with the ritual. She is spending some time traveling to and from Shadowrock Hollow, meeting up with her family, keeping in touch, but spending a lot of time with her father and Dalfit, just regarding some strategies and pointers of what's being good for a leader and a chief, which she hopes to take over one day. Otherwise, she's spending the rest of her time training, retraining some of her hit points, learning how to get a bit harder, and going down a less brutal route of combat. So retraining the way she deals with combat, and researching more rumors about the Dragon Slayer.
Which, if you don't mind, Al, we'd probably end up doing together if it's a similar activity.
Yeah.
Alright. The party is doing quite a bit of travel during their rest, so not exactly resting their legs, but more their mental state. Is there anything you would wish to go through before we go into the atonement ritual?
Nothing on my end.
Did anyone else hear like a very low scream, or am I going insane?
It sounded like someone else's background voice.
That's fine. Sorry, I thought I was entering some kind of psychosis. Okay.
Now, we're entering Silent Hill. You're going to a big hill with a fog around to get rid of the evilness.
Oh dear.
Way to enter, like, make it part of yourself. Each one of your characters there.
I think
Internalizing, that's the word I wanted.
I think if I'm gauging this correctly, the conversation between Tazenka and Edward would probably happen after this. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I was gonna say like that would timeline-wise would happen after the ritual, like towards the end of these 2 months.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are doing. Sorry, no, G-Gob.
No, like I'm fine just doing it first, or if it would make sense to do it after the atonement.
I think probably after, because the atonement. I feel like the atonement ritual is going to take a lot of time. I know it's not got like material component, but the actual act of it and getting it together. So no, I think a lot of the things that we've discussed would probably happen after that, and it would make sense for a lot of us to start doing, like, Edward would probably spend the time doing these quests for members of like the Sleeps, the Icicles, those kind of people, and while the others are doing their retraining and setting up.
Alright. Are we fine to go into the ritual if that's the case?
I think so.
We've had enough time to prepare for it. Would there be any benefit to Edwin giving Drazenka any kind of magical support? The reason why I ask that is I specifically have a talent called Magical Aid, which lets me increase people's caster level. Never used it yet. I was going to use it in the Golem fight, but I'm just asking, would any of this help at all? Because I know I'm not the caster. Drazenka, I think, is the primary caster.
I mean, she'll accept the help because it's mostly for flavor and story at this point. No, like mechanical benefit, but like, yeah.
It's just like to see if, like, we don't know, we've never done this before. I think we try to boost it as high as possible, really, to give you like the best chance of this working.
I mean, this working is mostly about Al.
That's very true.
It's her decision in the end, so it's not strictly necessary, but like, And overall, like, Drasenka doesn't have any qualms with everybody being present. Basically, she's like setting up like maybe like a smaller side or prayer room in the church for this. So everyone can join, but it's ultimately up to
What you're
Al
going?
if he wants.
What
Sure.
you're doing is atop the mountains.
No, she's doing something else top of the mountains.
I thought you said earlier you're going to do the atonement on the mountains. How dare! My map is ruined.
She's
What was I going to say? I know it's not going to be, but the idea that Al turns a corner is just an intervention. Like, it's just a big sign, and that's the whole thing. But anywho,
No, I have something different planned for the mountains. Then again, if I was smart, I could have combined the two, but it's a little too late now. Well, we can say it's on the mountains, it's fine. It was still make sense if you had a map for it.
Yeah, I'm just scrambling. I've got a cathedral
Look,
map. I need to
You
send
know
it.
what? You had a map for it, that's fine.
to be fair,
She's
we
doing
have
different things in the mountains by herself.
a different mountain. You can see it, but it's over there.
Yeah, it's
fine.
a different area, and it's big enough area.
And we can honestly, we have the capacity to just make a prayer room in the mountain if you really want,
Yeah.
like pretty quickly.
But yeah, that was basically just set up an area, and then the only one who's required to be present is Al, so it's up to her who else she wants there.
I think it would be, as much as I've offered, like, it would be down to her. If she doesn't want us there, then so be it.
Yeah.
I don't hear Jester saying nobody can come.
No, they're welcome.
Is Dowerfit welcome?
Especially if I've been asking him pointers and things during my downtime, I think he'd be welcome to come.
Alright. I've put Al into a very convenient circle that I'm sure Jester's going to love.
It's a good circle, just remember that.
Oh, it's alright. It's not the same
Don't
circle. It's not the same circle.
Alright. You can find yourself a nice flat piece of grassy knoll amongst the mountains. In the distance, you may just be able to eke out the sign of Hatterwood, along with the new river feeding into it, and maybe some splashing in the distance if the Nagas are swimming around. You can hear the mountain roaring and rolling as either the Vizieret tribe is moving around or other minor drakes and dragons are making their way through the rocky plains. With Al standing within the center of a magical circle, either made up of candles or painted down by Drazenka, her hands being muddied by the display. A vortex of magic seeps between it as it goes to the epicenter beneath Al's feet, as if there is something pulling in towards her as well as out of it, but rather slowly. As the atonement takes quite a long time, as you know, it's about an hour, as well as the setup time. As Al has no issues with who's coming here, the whole party's here, sans Dodoro, who's no longer part of the party, as well as Dowerfit, as he, if it's a conversation topic for Al to be bringing up about her temperament as well as other things, it would come to his ears about this ritual. As your party is atop the mountain, feel free for Drazenka to lead it, or if Al has any last words for her personality before it gets ripped from her.
I mean, it's basically like that there's the circle Drazenka's prepared, as well as like some candles around and maybe incense. Nothing as like expensive as would be in different circumstances, but still. kind of a strange mix of something really like holy and magical. And guide out towards the center and advise her to get comfortable because it's going to take a while. Can either lie down or sit down or stand if she prefers.
She will sit in a position cross-legged, hands in her lap.
And Drazenka will take a seat like at the edge of the circle in front of her and take Ao's hands into hers. Do you have any questions before we begin? Or anything you want to say?
No questions. I have my full faith into you, Drazenka. I know this isn't a quick fix, but I know this is going to help me lead me onto a more faithful path, a more good one that leads to better choices. I thank you to giving me this opportunity.
Of course, and I thank you for your trust in me in this. Now it is not necessary, but it would probably be helpful for you to, as I begin chanting, for you to also try to meditate and look back to your own life and think of the changes you would like to make in it.
Of course.
To kind of take a quick look around to if anybody else wants to add anything.
Entro, I don't know if you've got anything first, because I don't want to jump in. If not,
I was literally just gonna wait until you said something, and then I was gonna say something.
too polite.
The lack of eye contact.
if Zion is waiting for Edwin to say something, Edwin would just look over the circle, look at Darfoot, and see the clear skies and the quite almost picturesque area we are in. You've picked a good spot for this, Drazenka, and Al, if you were part of this. Just remember, we stood by you in the times you had different thoughts. This won't change who you are. I hope it just brings you a little bit further back to a clarity of vision, is all.
Of course. Thank you.
Is there anything you wish for us to do in this time? Stand back, stand closer, words of affirmation, that kind of thing.
I'm
You
happy
can be
for
as you
you
are.
to make yourself comfortable as well.
Edwin will nod. And then probably look at Zaire.
Just gonna slow. Yeah. Not a good place to be too close to this circle. Al, we've known each other for ever since I moved to Hadowwood. You're a good person, and you don't need anybody to tell you that. You do good for others, you do good for yourself. You've got this.
Thank you,
You don't need
Zaire.
anything from me, except for he pulls out a pillow out of the
Oh my god, I thought it was actually going to be proposing.
no, he reaches into the bag of holding that Al is currently equipped with and pulls out a pillow and then sets it on the ground. There you go.
Thank you. It's most comfortable.
And then he reaches in and grabs another one for himself.
I see how it is. I see.
And then he reaches in and grabs one for everybody else. If anybody else wants any. Anyways, they're just real basic linen-covered fluffy pillows that should last a good while, even with sitting on the hard ground.
Did you crochet these, Zion?
No.
Oh, there's a pattern on here. I just popped it down.
Zaire immediately just starts looking at the pattern of the weave when he sees nothing. he'll just pop down over here.
Looking at Darfid if he has anything if he wants to say.
There's always been quite a bit of a terror, I guess you could say. Running around, not thinking too much before she leaps into action. Always thinking them wings of hers can glide her on down to safety. But I think now she understands there's not always going to be a safety net when she jumps. She knows the way forward. And this ritual of yours is just another step for her. Making sure she's taking the right paths. Got no worries it's not gonna work for her. Even if it doesn't, she'll make things right in the end. All I got to say is, see you on the other side, Owl.
Thank you, Darrowfit. And I appreciate you coming to this. It's nice to have you here.
Bit chilly, and the climb was a bit rough for my knees, but keep getting told by the doctor you'd get active.
I think with the Drasenka will nod. As I said, you can be as you are. Stand, sit, even discuss amongst yourself quietly. Just, I would prefer if you try not to make too much noise, to not disturb the ritual. But otherwise, just get as comfortable as you can. And turns back towards Ao. You ready?
I'm ready.
She'll again hold your hands in hers and close her eyes and begin to chant. How easy is it for Ao to quiet her mind and in general just meditate?
It probably doesn't come quite naturally. It probably takes her a good few deep breaths to really try and sit still, stop fidgeting, really try and clear her mind out. But she eventually, with a bit of time, gets into a position where she's calm, in a really calm state, and controlling her breathing.
Yeah, I think there's that restlessness at first, but with Drasenka's own soft voice, just that monotonous, gentle chanting, the wind of the area, maybe bird calls in the distance, just the sounds of nature just help you ease into a more calm mental state. And are there any particular moments or things you think back to in regards to maybe something you want to change or just things that make you who you are or what you wish to become?
Yeah, so while she's sort of in this calm state, she's sort of flicking back to maybe echoes of her past, maybe moments in time where she could think of alternative ways that could have been better. She'll think back to, say, the most recent one with the Lacage, where even when the combat had finished, she continued to pound on the body and even lop off a finger. That isn't really needing to be done at that point. The deed had been done. It wasn't necessary to continue hacking away at a corpse. There's been other instances like that. There's been instances where even Drasenka talked Ao out of the situation and made her choose the more non-lethal route rather than going straight for the kill. So those sort of echoes in past, these are all situations which maybe don't befit the chief that she wants to become and the vision of what she sees her father was in the past. And she wants to lead, eventually when she takes over, into a new future, but not one filled with a much larger evil intent. So she's looking for ways that she definitely could have done those situations differently, and will try to make those decisions going forward. She has a strong willingness to change what she was in the past and what she will become.
As you focus on yourself and all of those things, it's kind of starting to get hard to, like, at first everything seemed slow as things are when you're just sitting still, but it's getting harder to gauge how much time is passing. I assume she has her eyes closed
She does.
for a lot of this, yeah. So you don't really recognize it. The others who are just watching, you do start feeling the air is growing colder, not like uncomfortable, but just chilling into like that cool, like cooling the air, cooling the tension almost. And a soft white mist is coming out from the ritual area and circling both Ao and Trasenka, not to fully obscure them to your eyes. At some point, even like in that Ao's mind eye, she's imagining things, you are also surrounded by, you feel the cold. It's not, again, uncomfortably cold, but definitely a drop in the temperature. And you are also kind of, everything's covered in that white mist or even light. I'm just going for it. And you suddenly, at some point, find yourself in a completely white space. You see in front of you is Drasenka is standing up, but she looks even more like Shiva now, like all the features that she already had that make her look like Shiva are like emphasized. And it's almost like she's made of snow and ice rather than the flesh and blood Ronso that she is. And her eyes are completely white as she regards you. In front of her is a table with 2 cups. One is just a clear liquid, just looks like normal water, and the other has that same white mist pouring out of it. Kind of almost like liquid nitrogen looking.
If if this is presented to Al, she's always been one throughout her whole life. She knows the deities are obviously a thing, but she's never been one to believe in any of the deities. So at first, she's not shocked, but definitely taken back a little bit to see Drazenka in this form, because she knows that Drazenka is the cause of this, and there's been lots of talk about Shiva and everything, and obviously her taking on the depiction of the Lady of Ice. So she's sort of in this white space, embraces the cold, because in an odd way it has a familiarity with it, with the fact that she's spent so much time with Drazenka and has spent and seen Edwin's transformation. So she'll walk up quite slowly to the table and would try to address the Lady in Ice. Would you be Drazenka or would you be the lady in question.
I am still Trasenka, your friend.
And I assume I need to decide to drink from either of these cups. Would I be right?
That is correct. Thank you for coming this far. This is the final step of what you need to do. This will, she gestures towards the clear liquid. This will end the ritual and wake you up as you were, with no further effect. And this gestures towards the flowy white misty cup. We'll finish the ritual and awaken you to a different mindset. The choice has always been yours, Ao.
Al would take quite a few moments just to contemplate, because she knows that it's quite a big decision, and she'll come out replying. I chose to agree to the atonement because I know that there was a need for a change, at least for me personally. And like I said to begin with, and like I've said during this whole time, I have my full trust in you. So I'm going to be drinking from your icy cup. And she'll grab that cup, and we'll drink it slowly.
Yeah. And drinking it is like the smoke just flows over it. It feels like really, really cold water as it goes through you. And that white around you again just intensifies and covers everything. And you feel that cold like burning all the way through your body before it settles, and you wake up in the ritual circle. And that should have done it.
I will stand, picking up the pillow as she does stand. That was an experience.
Rasenka will also like take a deep breath and not stop out as she stands up and just let the hands separate. She blinks her eyes open. You can see just faint traces of light, almost like her eyes were fully covered in snow for a split second before she blinks and they clear up again. How do you feel?
It's hard to put it into many different words, but I guess if I chose a quick answer, I would say enlightened. I feel that nothing has changed from my past, because nothing can change from my past, but at the same time I feel almost as though a clean slate has been presented to me, and that any decision I make going forward is of no feature from my past. I feel as though I will be judged only from this point on, moving forward. Thank you for providing me this opportunity. I can only
Of course.
hope that I will no longer be the person I was in the past with the decisions that I had made, and that I'm only going to choose lighter decisions moving forward.
To be clear, you could have made any of those decisions to change on your own terms, in your own time. This is just an alternative route to a same end. And as you said, it does not change what you have done, but it does give you a different perspective of how to approach these things in the future. And I once again thank you for trusting in me and in this.
I must say I had respect for your power before, and the fact that I never actually fully understood your power. But seeing you in that form, in that mind space. I have a higher respect, which I didn't think I had before.
She looks like almost curious and almost confused. It's her head like,
Let's just say
I suppose it.
you unpicked your Lady of Ice in more ways than you can imagine.
That is where this power comes from, so I would have imagined she would be in some way present.
I think she's with you in more ways than you'll ever know.
Indeed, I'm starting to realize that myself.
Well, thank you everyone for your time, and thank you all for being present during this. I'm not really sure how much time has passed.
Not a problem. Now,
About an hour, because it takes an hour.
Mm.
Yeah.
we were here as long as it would take. How do you feel?
Clear-minded is the best way.
Edwin will just give a nod. Double check Dalfoot hasn't fallen asleep, and keep an eye out.
Well, from the outside looking in, didn't see much of a change, but felt the wind whisper and magical energies flow from Zinka into Owl. So, certainly something happened. And I ain't gonna be saying that nothing did. Owl's already got the little statue at her back, standing on straight. Think she's on the right path, even a bit further. Almost as if Drzenka placed her hand on her back and pushed her forward.
That's one way to look at it.
Indeed. I'm somewhat hydrated and refreshed as well. Shall we begin our descent down the mountain?
I thought you'd want to fly down, but of course, we can.
I was thinking of offering that opportunity to Dalfit. He did say his knees were hurting.
Indeed they were.
Oh, I can't be skipping leg day. Doctor keeps on saying if I don't use them, I'll lose them.
Do you realise I am the doctor?
You're gonna write me a different subscription, Doc.
No, you do need to use your legs. We better get going.
Ah! Bloody tears. Alright. With the ritual complete and Al feeling a sense of ease, not really a sense of non-evilness, because you can't really feel too much on that unless you're in a hells, you can leave the mountains. As Al can now change her alignment to neutral good.
Yay!
Unless she lied.
Double evil.
What will be the next thing on the list of role-playing conversations you wish to go through?
There was nothing else for someone else. We can kind of jump forward in time to the other mountain thing Drozinga was doing.
Yeah. The only things I have are, as I say, the research, the ritual. If we'll have to decide between Entro and Jester who wants the ritual. I know Jester said they were up for it, but I don't want to do 2 rituals back to back. So yeah, we can certainly go to that if you've got something you were doing on the mountain.
If we want to keep it timeline-wise, then we can do your thing first.
But mine is literally just the research. The ritual just takes 10 minutes.
Sure, but if you want to have a conversation about it.
Yeah, can do. I think it would just be one of the times. I can only assume we meet up most nights when we're all in Hatterwood, either at the tavern or like even just somewhere we tend to see ourselves, be it Zyron's house or wherever our standard hangout spot is. And Edwin would just broach the subject. During the last month or so, I've been looking into a ritual. Nothing quite as elaborate as the ritual undergone with yourself, Al, but it's called the Ritual of the Protector. It is a bonding of sorts. It's not anything as formal as spending the rest of our lives together, but it is a permanent ritual that would give myself and another person the capacity to not only talk to each other mentally, but give that person some additional benefits, such as being more alert, not needing to sleep as much, and effectively being a better guardian of sorts. I offer this openly to any of you, but I simply wish to let you know that I have the capacity to do this ritual. I prepared it in case, as we have found, sometimes our enemies will attempt to isolate us or attack us when we are stricken or otherwise unable to see each other. One of the benefits of this ritual is that if myself or another member of the bond is harmed, the other one will know immediately. I will say, this is a choice, it must be done willingly, and I'm simply broaching it to all of you. I know you have other things going on, but I think this would be a good way of keeping ourselves together, to want for a better way of saying it.
Well,
Yeah, that
I've
sounds
already
pretty cool.
I've already done one ritual. I'm always open to another.
I see.
What exactly does the ritual do?
I would need to effectively touch my forehead to yours for around 10 minutes or so. I can't leave, neither could you, and once the ritual is complete, Edwin will explain that once it is done, as long as we're on the same plane of existence, we will know each other's direction. If we're within a mile of each other, we know our exact location and can sense each other's emotions. So this is quite a deep bond, and you are each aware of when the other takes damage. You also gain the alertness fee. You don't need food or water. You only need 2 hours of sleep, and you gain the ability to remain conscious while at negative hit points. So a bit like Die Hard. We can also speak telepathically. This is a permanent ritual, so it is forever, but it can be. We can dispel it, I would imagine. So
I think telepathy only works if you do it
yeah,
both
until
ways.
dispel.
No, like you don't get if if the one you bond with also does the ritual to you, then you get the telepathy, I think.
If the is used on a creature who is bonded to you.
Bonded you.
Oh yeah, so we wouldn't get telepathy, sorry, but we would get everything else.
But yeah, that's still a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff. So I'm just opening it out. I will be clear and say I can only have this with one person, which is why I'm opening it out to the three of you, as frankly, I think the three of you would be the people I would trust most with not only my life, but knowing my mind and knowing yours. Even in a small capacity.
I like the sound of it, I'm not gonna lie. It's got a huge advantage to it. At least with supporting one another and also staying in contact.
Yeah.
That was the hope. As I say, I'm willing for any of you to be a part of this. It is simply, I can only have one.
Well, if nobody else would like to jump at the decision, I'd be happy to take it, but I'm not going to take it unless somebody else wants it.
You're not going to take it unless somebody else wants it?
Yeah, so what I'm saying is I will offer it to anyone else that would like it. I've already done a ritual, so if somebody else would like to do it, then they're welcome to. If nobody is willing, then I'd happily do it. It would be very good and very advantaged.
Yeah. Well, my thoughts on it are that while it would be a great boon for me, I feel like it would be more beneficial to do it with Al. Kind of like compounding some of her already good features. While as for me, it would be more like covering up some of my detriments.
Both are what the bond is designed for, as far as I'm aware. But if you don't wish to partake, Siren, I don't take offense, don't worry.
I mean, it's not that I don't wish to partake, it's that I feel it's better suited to Al than it is to me. Because don't get me wrong, if there was nobody else that was better suited to it, I would be looking to it for myself as well.
Then I will conduct this ritual with Al. It only takes 10 minutes, but it is 10 minutes, so we'll do this on the morrow before we get about to our daily activities. I feel like tonight may be a bit too much. And if we are going to do that, and it is going to be Al who takes it, it is definitely not as probably not as impressive, truth be told, as the Atonement. It is very much a more low-key style bond where we touch the foreheads together. I think I have to hold my hands on the side of Al's face for a bit, and essentially there is this almost like impromptu, very light snowstorm, or more snowfall, that covers the two of us over the period of the 10 minutes, and as soon as that is up, it will pretty much melt into our skin and dissipate, and with that the bond will be cemented.
I feel like I'm starting to get myself into a love triangle here.
No, it is exactly that. It is just a way of keeping track of each other, essentially.
Perfect.
Awareness is just +2 to perception and sense motive. If you have 10 ranks, you gain a +4 in those specific skills, but it has to be 10 in one and 10 of the other to get both.
Awareness or alertness?
alertness. Am I thinking, what's alertness? I forget. Was it? I'm thinking about
It's
awareness.
same thing. You get a +2
That's
in
it.
perception and sense motive.
That's it.
Thank you.
And with that, that will be the ritual done. Oh, sorry, the bond. It's not really a ritual.
No. Al has bonded. I don't know if you want to make yourself a buff to say that you have that, so you know that it's a constant effect, because it can be dispelled, so it'd be one of the last things, because it's 5th, and you're now casting a few 6th and 7th for buffs and whatnot. So it'd be low on the list, but it could still happen. Also, I might have figured out why the roads no longer work up, because it seems like they've added, I can't remember the proper term, it's like something culling that video games normally do, where your camera looks, it shows everything, but where the camera isn't looking, it basically disables the stuff behind you. So if you're looking forward, the house behind you no longer exists. It's to help with like resource management of the console you're using. Because when I move the map, the roads don't exist, and then they slowly fade in as they're loading it. So it seems like they aren't saving their location data properly. Because I was trying to fix some more of these, but when I click them, they fix themselves, but it's just the one I clicked. If I click another one, it unfixes the previous one and fixes the one I click. So location data is just broken as they don't save their data properly, which is weird. So it's Roll20's issue.
Yeah,
God.
for me also, like, if I move the map at all, it'll break.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just zoomed in and moving around the map, and I think my whole map just broke.
Yeah, they did the same to me, and I was just, okay, I loaded in, I'm not going to move the map.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So
Oh,
they
God.
just changed how the
WebGL or
editor
something
works.
keeps disconnecting.
So I will certainly be using smaller maps, or at least just parts of a map at a time, rather than this whole thing. Alright, with the Bond of the Protector done, was there anything else on the list to do?
Only things I had, again, were the research and the conversation with Drzenka. That's as far as I'm aware.
I think that's next.
Alright.
If Ow and Siren had nothing else they wanted to jump in for.
No, I think I've unless somebody else has something with me, I've got nothing.
I did ask, but you seem to just be, not just be, but doing things that were specific. I mean, definitely going to be spending time with Zyron and like asking if they have any goals, aspirations, changes, because I mean, we could do it in character, to be fair, but
That's
Edward
fine.
is worried that like you seem to always just want to help your friends and not do the things that you specifically may want to do.
That's the thing, though. Zyron, that's what Zyron wants to do. He wants to help people. He wants to be, useful to others, and he doesn't really gain a lot of joy from having personal goals necessarily, but he finds joy in helping others and doing small things for other people.
Fair enough.
Then, is it about a month and a half into the downtime? Jasenka will approach Edwin. Could I ask you for a favor with something?
I think when Josenko comes in and asks, I don't know where we are, I can only assume it's either we're at the church or... where do you ask this? Because that is fairly important.
I mean, either just after one of the shared hangouts that they've had during this time, like hanging back and holding Edwin back to talk, or just going to his house to specifically to find him, talk to him.
Yeah. You ping a rock off his forehead and he's not paying attention. But yeah, he can certainly turn around. Could probably come to the door if it's that, or we'll say it's one of the hangouts and the other two have gone off on one of their competitions. Try and get a good look at Josenka. I'm not doing a sense motive, I just want to look at her features, but then say, yes, of course. What seems to be the matter?
You don't need to look that serious about it. Just something I've been working on.
I have noticed your absences. I can only assume it's something to do with that.
If you're willing to lend your aid, you'll find out. Are you free to go on a hike for the next few days?
So this is a favour I don't know until I get there. Is that what you're saying?
It's easier to show than to tell. It has to do with your particular type of magic that I don't quite have access to.
Still definitely keeping eye contact with Josenka for this, but we'll say, yes, we can certainly hike. Am I allowed to know our destination, or is that something I will know when I see it?
It's in the mountains, a little further away from the atonement site. Would there be, in the Domain Mountains, mountain or peak that would be tall enough that would have snow all year round?
Yeah, it'll be most likely towards the northern part, which is around here.
Yeah. Then she'll explain. It's in the northern part of the mountains, some ways away from where the Vierach usually roam. Not quite as dire as the Bodrak Mountains were.
I see. I won't question why you've been going there on your own, but I'm sure I'll find out.
You can head off in tomorrow then.
Understood. Do you have any requests for what I bring then?
What you would need for a hike?
Well, shouldn't be too difficult. And yeah, we'll gather his belongings and meet Josenka in the morning.
Yeah, she'll lead him towards one of the northern peaks. And she's during the time, I imagine it might take a couple days. Just walking unless you want chocobos, which happy to get. But she'll spend the time talking and being generally looking pretty relaxed.
Do I get the sense that Josenka would prefer to walk? Is there a significance to the walk? Because it seems like you've been walking this.
I mean, she definitely starts it just assuming they would walk before stopping and asking, would you prefer us riding there? You haven't seen her on a chocobo during this time at all.
No, and with that in mind, Edwin would just say, not at all. It reminds me of some of our earlier adventures when time was more free.
I agree. Quite enjoy the walk myself.
Then let us walk.
Yeah, and like I said, she's still talking about just how things are going in the village, their own lives. We ask Edwin about his work with the guilds. And if he has anything he wants to talk about regarding Gintrolith. Or if he's heard anything about Dotoro.
I don't know if I have at this point.
Yeah, that's just that's a
You
topic
would have
sometimes.
heard some stories about Dotoro, mostly within Zateni, but also a few things within the West Company. He's doing mostly what he was doing before he met you and that he told you about, mostly questing like you guys normally do, just helping out settlements.
Ed will try and match the tone. It seems like Josenka wants to talk at that point, and will almost respond in the same manner, asking about how the Vierach have been, their acclimatization to the mountains. Explain that things have been going well, like his mother's not been ill. Dotoro seems to be doing okay, and there's no mention of him encountering the Dragon Slayer. Keeping it light, but there is definitely a air of what's going on, but trusts you enough to follow you.
Eventually they'll reach one of the peaks and like a little past the point where there's it's wintertime, so there would be snow anyway, I imagine. But yeah. Towards a peak that has like almost two sort of plateau areas before the peak proper. You come to the first kind of plateau, that's words. And you see a very simple hut built of stone and ice and snow. Almost like a mix of an igloo and something made of stone. You can see that it's been created using magics and like I forget the name of the spell, but like move stone and ice.
Yeah, you've used magic to put it together.
Yeah, it's been mostly done. There are some like areas that have been like hand carved to make like a proper doorway. Some maybe windows, and there's at the center top of it is like a chimney type thing. So you can imagine there's a fireplace inside.
So this is what you've been hiding.
This is
Ideas
part of it.
of grand designs? You're not going into home improvements, are you?
No, this is for something more communal. And as you get closer, you see that on top of the door frame has been hand carved words "shelter for the weary." And as you get closer, you can also see that where the mountain continues up, there have been stairs, again magically carved out of the rock face towards the second kind of upper plateau area.
I can't help but notice the name.
Not name per se, just a sentiment.
Is it a sentiment you share, or a sentiment you wish to alleviate?
A little bit of both. So I said this is for something. Anyone who comes across it is free to make use of it.
I must say, Josenko, I didn't realize that our company sometimes force you to go to the top of a mountain and sit here. If it's that wearying, joking aside, I could see the point of you doing so. But I sense this is not the full reason you've brought me here.
No, this is, as I said, only a part of it and only as a necessary means to accommodate what's further up.
And what is further up?
Why don't you come with me and take a look?
I suppose I must. something about curiosity and cats, but I think that would be a role reversal.
Yeah, and before going up, she'll like leave most of her own gear. Go inside the hut, and you see indeed it's just a kind of a very simplified, just a resting area. There's a pit for a fireplace inside, and just like benches that can act also as like beds going around it.
Well,
Very just simple shelter.
seeing Trazenka do this, I would probably do the same. When you say you leave your gear, do you leave behind the sword, or do you take the sword?
No, the sword stays with her.
Okay.
Just to me, more like the traveling gear and the hiking gear and stuff like that. Though she is carrying very little in general, but yeah, her backpack mostly.
Then they'll mirror the action.
And she leads you up the stone stairs. And first thing you see is for a split second you think there's just a blue woman standing there before you realize it is an ice sculpture. Very similar in style to the one that's in Shadowrock Hollow, but much smaller and more like in life-size scale, so around Edwin's height, of a blue hume that you can easily recognize is in the likeness of Shiva in her most commonly known hume form. In front of it is a stone altar that has like 2 steps to it, for either for offerings or just for kneeling, or a step for shorter races. And on the side of the altar it reads "Guidance for the Lost." Again, this is hand carved. And the statue itself also looks like it's probably the ice has been brought in with magic, but then hand carved into what it looks like.
I think Edwin's definitely taken aback. There is, I wouldn't call it shock, but certainly a level of absorption needed at seeing all of this. This is very impressive, Trazenka. Very impressive indeed.
Thank you. Now for what I asked you here for, I was hoping you would grace the area with a consecration. I know it's not a permanent effect, but as a symbolic gesture or something.
Trazenka, you are a cleric of Shiva. Your very presence here, especially with that sword at your hip, would certainly consecrate it. I'm happy to do so. Before I do, however, I must ask, sort of looking around, seeing the amount of effort that's been put in here, why did you do this on your own? Was it a need? A calling? Or simply something you need to work out on your own?
Mostly an undertaking I wish to take. In some sense, just, I wouldn't say calling, but just something I wanted to do. I did come here initially just to get my thoughts together, but, well, turns out I am not very good at sitting on my hands too long. The idea sparked up and I just began working.
This isn't the first time you've done such a thing. Your prayers in Fistrek, leaving on your own, contacting your rituals there. I will do this for you, Jazenka, but why do you feel the need to isolate yourself when things are not well? Your titles for these rests are weariness and loss. To create such items, you must feel such things. I can see the carving here. I'm no artist, but you must feel parts of this to be able to convey it in such ways. When I said that you've put a lot of work into this, I meant it. What worries me is the context of that work.
I'm not sure how to answer you. It's just... I admit I have been mulling things over quite a bit in the... not just the past few months, but longer than that.
I know.
And it has been easier for me to try to get my thoughts in order by myself first before approaching others about them.
When I have spoken to other people of you, people who don't know you that well, do you know what they describe you as? The first real thing they give me.
What would that be?
That you have ice in your veins, Drazenko. I don't know if this is from birth or simply from contact with the lady. Always so calm and collected, willing to separate yourself in this manner. I understand this may be how you deal with things, but we are here to help you. Every time it has been asked, you simply say everything is well, or that you will work it out on your own. You realize no one can hear us here. The only person that can, point at the statue, is the one you've devoted your life to. The lady is not simply snowfall, it is ice and blizzard. Fury, wrath even. You don't need to simply hold it. Ice may be very difficult to move, but when it moves at a clip. We're about to undertake one of the most dangerous undertakings of our lives. I just hope that you trust us enough that you will not need to be guided from your loss, and that your weariness, at the very least, can be soothed by the balm of not only friendship but those who would give their lives for yours. I won't make this more dramatic than it needs to be, but one day that flow of yours needs to crack.
Not an issue or lack of trust, of course. I trust all of you immensely. That's not what any of this is about.
Then what is it about?
Owen Sirenatlis, dear as they are to me, are people of action. If I ever had a great need to slay a beast or apprehend bandits, I would not hesitate to ask any of you to come by my side. This is something I feel I have to figure out for myself first.
And how has that been going? It has been years of this. You leaving, taking your time away, composing your thoughts, creating these hermitages, or at least using other means, family, duty, honor, faith. These hermitages you have made in your mind, or in these places, to be away from the action, as you call it. I'm not accusing you of anything here, Drasenka. I'm just trying to be clear. I don't think if you realize this complex that appears to have occurred, you'll never escape it. You'll be trapped like that statue over there, exactly as you are for the rest of your life. Always so busy.
I suppose I don't know how else to be. But I also don't know if there's anything else I would want to be. If I can be there to help others, then that's what I wish to do.
You give so much of yourself, there is nothing left. That is why you don't have your own a goal or direction is unfair. You have that, but who are you, Drasenka? Tell me that. Who are you?
You ask that, you can see that her expression just kind of start almost shuddering a little bit as she's struggling to find an answer.
We're on top of a mountain, as far away from everyone else in the world apart from the wind itself. Who are you? You've asked for space. You have all the space in the world. You must have an answer.
I am Drasenka Virach, cleric of Shiva.
You've given me your name and your title. Who are you?
That is who I am.
That is
That is
all
who
you
I.
Hmm?
That is who I made myself to be.
Made yourself to be, so it's not who you are, is it? Where is your core? The heart of you. You give so much of it away. Do you have any left?
I don't know what you want from me.
I don't want anything from you, Drasenka. That's the funny part of this. I don't have expectation. No one does. You're reaching a point in your life where the power in your blood, in your profession, is at the peak of most mortal ability. You've created this, but you could destroy it as easily, in moments. One of these days, I don't know if it's going to be me, or Zairon, or Ao. One of us is going to leave, and we won't be coming back. Not through death, but through other circumstance. I just want to know who you are. So if that happens, if we are all alone one day, I will think back on Drasenka as not her job, not her name, not her family, Not the things she's done for other people, but who she is. The one thing I know about you, really you, is you like to sculpt sometimes. I've known you for years. That's about it. You like to cook on occasion. You enjoy the cold, you like hikes. But it's always for someone else. You cook for others because it feeds them. You make statues because others will appreciate them. You say and protect your name because your tribe was in shame. I'm not convinced any of this was for you either. The hermitage down there is for the lost or the weary, and this is a guide to the lost. I was hoping this would be for you. In my heart, I really did.
Can be both at once.
You are right, it can be both at once. Is it both at once?
I don't know. To answer your question, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who I am below all of this. I don't. I don't know. All I wanted was, after coming to Hatterwood, was to pay my lady back for all she did for me and continue her good deeds on this world. Embody her will as best I can. And to pay back to everyone around me who've been good to me. Pay it forward. Without her, I would still be, me and my kin both, still lost in those mountains, wandering aimlessly on until the elements would take us. She's the one who gave me a home, a family, a purpose. So that's what I'm giving back. If pushing you lot forward means I'll be left behind, then so be it.
That's impossible. I had the rescue spell. You're stuck with us regardless.
Metaphorically speaking.
Well, I'll find a way.
If feeding others means I have to go hungry, then so be it.
It doesn't work like that. If you create this and pay everything forward with such detriment to yourself, what do you think's going to happen? You're just staying that scared young girl, hungry and running, because all you get, you pay forward. She doesn't take debt, you know. There is a difference. She's giving you these things because you deserve them. You don't have to give all of that away. Your life is your own, Drazanka.
I don't think I could, even if I wanted to, give it all away. Her hand kind of grazes the sword at her side.
I think Edwin takes his staff off and, like, not throws it off the mountain, but throws it far enough away that he goes back to normally looking like he does.
Okay, you don't change. You stay looking how you look.
I thought it was distance.
Nope,
We don't know.
you've never attempted to do so, and I've never said you ever changed.
Fair enough.
The only time you've changed is when you first picked it up, and nothing really has happened unless you've cut your hair.
Okay, then ignore that. We're both changed by these things, but they're not permanent. We're not defined by these objects, Drazenka. They're gifts, and at one point someone else will have them. You can't define yourself by these things.
Not just by the item.
It's the touch. The idea of being chosen. Or being worthy. Or... What is it to you? You tell me. You can. Again, no one else can hear us here.
Ever since she brought me here to Hatterwood, I've been thinking about the same question over and over. Why me and why here? And every time I think I find my answer, find what my purpose was it to reconnect with the Shevas and return my family back to a more safe life, fix their deeds? Perhaps it was the overarching danger on this world that was caused by the remnants of the war against the Nagas. Even now, perhaps it is the threat of the Dragon Slayer and the threat of the current status quo.
Did you consider that she just wanted to protect a little girl lost in the mountains who didn't know where to go, and found
course, that
somewhere
was-
to protect her?
But if it just wanted to keep me safe, keep me alive, why bring me all the way here? She could have just as easily let me go back to my family.
Would you have been safe with your family? Would you have been protected? Loved?
Safe
In
enough.
a community? Jastenka, I saw the way they treated you. We were all
Not all
there.
of them.
No, but it needed to change. And could you have done that staying there? Would you have grown up knowing the values you do? Had the training you had? Understood not just the scripture, but its meaning? You did those things. Shiva didn't make you. She saved you, and you chose to follow her. You chose to learn. You chose to understand and not feel jaded. I understand you don't have an answer for who you are. Maybe think about that, rather than running to these places. You built such fantastic fortresses of solitude. You don't need to be in them. And I think you can see that Edwin is really trying to connect to Jazenka, but he has done this before. It is like chipping away at this big old block of glacier. And he knows that this may not be it. He's trying. There is a almost
Definitely see, like,
desperation there.
yeah, Drasenga is like struggling. Even when she's like quiet, there's like she's trying to find the words to say something, but just doesn't find them. Doesn't find the words.
I think seeing this, after that last exchange, Edwin will look, see her, think about it, and we'll move over to the consecration and begin that. He is still capable of responding, it is doable, but he said he would do so, and he will.
She'll just take a step back and let you focus on that, not interrupt you for the casting.
I can still talk when I do this.
I know.
I think you owe Zaire and Ao an apology. They should have been here for this.
Nothing's stopping them from coming.
You asked me, not them.
What are you casting?
Consecrate. It's just to consecrate the altar.
Yeah,
Alright.
that was the basic reason why she asked you. And
If I can basically push this higher, I don't have heighten, I'm just saying I would probably put a fair bit of effort into this. I would do
Yeah,
so.
that's fine.
And then stand.
thank you.
You don't need to thank me. I would have done this regardless. I'm going to walk down to that hut. I would strongly recommend standing on the edge of that cliff and screaming as loud as you can. I heard it's therapeutic. I was going to walk towards the stairs.
He like smiles, gives like a small smile as he goes away, but she doesn't move from where she's standing, as far as you can tell. Just take a few more steps towards the altar she's made and the small shrine. Look at the statue. That's technically shorter than her, but yeah. Just spend a little bit more time down there before going back down. Edwin does not hear a scream.
He waits for it to come back down. Looks at her. Tries to gauge at least, not a mindset, but where they are.
She's just coming back and like begins to like prepare her things and the hut for like a night's rest. Starts building up a fireplace, even though neither of them really need it. With the help of magic and all, but just kind of going through like routine emotions.
I think Edwin just is getting his bed ready, turns around and says, "You know, if you were to die, I wouldn't know what to do with myself. I don't think many of the others would either."
Oh, it's a good thing I don't have any plans on dying anytime soon. But the sentiment is shared, Edwin.
I know. I know. Why couldn't you have a normal problem like falling in love with a vampire?
Hey man, that sucks.
How are things between you and her, by the way?
I haven't heard from her. I can only assume she's swanning off somewhere doing other things. It's a shame, really. Love in our line of business isn't really a thing.
It's not impossible.
No, I
That
don't
is
think
something you want to pursue.
No. Cartley is dangerous. Yeah, both in her manner and her capability. I think
She
it was
is
more of a
capable.
passing thing. Indeed. I've said my piece to her. She has not responded. With that, I'll move on with my life. And don't start deflecting again. We're talking about you here. You're very good at the whole parry riposte of wording.
I'm not
I think
trying to be dishonest or secretive.
No, but
I'm
you
just-
are walking to the top of a mountain to deal with your emotions, it seems.
As I said, anybody could have followed me had they wished to.
Jazenka, you have this manner to you when you say, I'm going to climb that mountain. I don't have the best bedside manner. When you say, I'm going to climb that mountain, we all assume you want to do it because you're doing something specific. Sometimes we're a bit dense, unfortunately, Jazenka. We're a little bit dense. Just hold the hand out, any of us would take it. At any time. I'll be halfway across the world and I'll be there in a moment, as would our Zaire, and they will find a way.
Perhaps some of it goes both ways. I admit could have openly asked for it, but there's also the question, do you need help?
That's
Do you need company?
always. I'm a little human in a big dragon world. I'm always going to need company. But I can live on my own. If you need to do things on your own that are not, as we've already discussed, a little bit of introspection is okay. A little bit of giving to others is fine. But don't take it too far. One day, I don't want to come back and find out Drazenka gave so much of herself away that there was nothing else to see when I came back.
It's not that I've given everything away, I'm just not sure there was anything to begin with.
Maybe we rediscover that then. You need a strong foundation. And if that foundation isn't there, or at least you are struggling to see it, we need to rebuild it. And I do mean we. All of us. You'll know who you are, and I think you do know who you are. But it's buried quite deep down there. And I don't know if you've noticed, but these noodle arms I'm not going to be digging much up at any time in the near future, but I can hope that you will help me with that. You're kind, Jazenka. Not just because the scriptures told you to be. You're strong. I've been told you have soft fur, I don't know. But these are all physical things, or at least the surface of them. I think you know who you are. Somewhere deep down in there. So you just shushed me there. I was like, damn, alright, fair enough.
Perhaps.
If it makes you feel better, we can go outside and have a duel and probably kick the absolute shit out of me, but I'm a bit rusty with the sword. Come on. We'll talk it through.
You could do it the exercise with the sword.
Oh, so now we're making jokes. Less introspection, more fat shaming. I see. Come on, I reckon I could get 1 or 2 in. I'll have you know, this is entirely due to Zyron's mother's cooking. I can't stop eating that bloody pie. I think Edwin's going to make a very big point of just walking over to Jazenka and offering his hand to her, not because she needs it, but just to say, "Come on, we're getting out of the home of the weary for a little bit."
He'll take his hand and follow him outside.
To which point you will thrash me, but there we are. Do you have anyone you would spend the rest of your life with?
Aside from you three, not really.
That's very unfortunate. And that's it.
With the two Shiva worshippers done with their discussions and arguments, hard to say if they're arguments, we can have our break here.
No worries. Sorry, Jester intro, but I think that was a long time coming. So
Sorry about the yapping.
It's all good.
alrighty, see you in a bit.
It's a nice window you have there.
You saw nothing.
Sure. Make sure that still works. That it does. Okay. With the discussions between Drazenka and Edwin complete, was there anything left on the docket before we get into the nitty-gritty?
Get me in the nitty gritty.
I don't know. Edwin was mentioning something about talking to Zyron for a little while.
I'm just here to support you, and I've made an oath to buff you heavily in the next fight we're in.
Yeah, let's get going. We're good.
Alright. With the 2 months passing by, and your group staying steady together, either traveling around to your previous locales, helping with the river construction, or otherwise, you'll be called upon by Kafura as he gives you another task Whenever he does ask, you know it to be important, and that you normally would never say no. This one, however, is going to be handled by somebody else who is closer to him. In the case of Dragon Slayer research, uh, what do you want? Because normal rumor mongering, you'll hear a few things here or there, but he or she is incredibly well suited to hiding their tracks. The only real concrete thing was last time you saw them was in the wrecking mines, and nobody's really seen much since, or at least nobody's talking about it.
Okay. The reason why I think was I did pick up 2 scrolls of legend lore during downtime. I was going to try and use one on either the Dragon Slayer or their sword, to see if anything happened with that. This doesn't have to happen now if it fucks up the flow, to be very clear. We can do this later.
We could. Let me just read through legend lore quickly.
It takes days, basically, if I only have information, which is what we have.
Yeah.
The
I would
main
say
part of it.
it's going to be more along the line of the 2d6 weeks. Because whilst you do have information, again, it is rumor mongering and Chinese whispers sort of affair.
So probably wouldn't have time then. So be it.
You can roll it, but the casting time is 2d6 weeks. So I don't think with everything else in total, you're not going to have enough time to cast it because you are doing all these other things. Were you doing much in the Rave retraining? I don't think you were.
No, I don't have any retraining.
He was mostly just learning spells.
Yeah, I was sending out like people to collect spell scrolls, and doing the stuff with Drazenka, but I don't have any like hard and fast things that keep my time.
Sure, you can roll a 2d6. We'll see if you have enough time. If it comes about to when Kafura calls you up, the casting is just going to be wasted.
Yeah, screw it. 6 weeks.
6 weeks, so that'll be 42 days.
Mhm.
So yeah, you could be able to do that.
We can say it could be successful. If there is nothing immediately lined up, we can grab it later. Again, happy to just say it's being looked at.
Okay. I need you to give me a cast level check, please.
Okay, would that be...
And you're using it from a scroll, so it'll have to be
yeah, so
scrolls
would it be
cast
scroll level?
So it'd be
Okay.
d20 plus 11, because it's 6.
Incoming 1. Ah! Not terrible. Sorry, everyone. I just wanted to see if we can find out anything about the thing we are probably going to have to deal with.
Good stuff. We're good.
Alright, as you take one of these legend lore scrolls and attempt to divine much about the Dragon Slayer, you hear a cacophony of whispers and murmurs amongst people within the crowd. Essentially, again, it's the Chinese Whisperers affair, where many people say many different things about it. You hear here and there some of the different dragons that people have noticed have gone missing and possibly slain by the Dragon Slayer. You see blood across the floor as you learn very little new about the Dragon Slayer, that as a visage of them appears in your mind, you almost feel as if your body is lit aflame as the whole vision goes blurred and shatters like glass as you are forced away from it.
Okay. Would I have any idea what that would be? Like, in the moment, I think Edwin is definitely like staggering back, probably falling if they were stood or if they were kneeling, leaping to their feet. Is there any indication if they are protected by a spell, power, ability? Like, do I feel like this was unsuccessful or they are protected? Sorry.
You feel like they are protected against divination.
Okay. Then I know that, and that is 3,000 gil down the drain, but I tried.
Was there another spell you wanted to try? Was that one it?
I have some others, but that was the big one. To be complete, I have another scroll of legend lore. Probably not going to fucking help me. At present, no. I'm going to wait for Carthora to ask, because I do have, for complete transparency, I have a scroll scrying, 3 scrolls of divination, 1 more legend lore, 1 discern location, and a few other bits and bobs, but they are not relevant at this time.
Alright. Carthura will ask that you go to a, well, not really secluded, but a place that is quite sequestered away from you, as your group has been petitioned, as you did bring up the question before, if you could deal with the Dragon Slayer with the issues with Asuki and Garuda, that if you were to continue along that track, as it seems it's going to be quite a upheaval if too many dragons would get to be getting involved. And if it's not going to be a charred earth situation, they're going to need a smaller team to deal with it. And if they were to send some of their stronger dragon, it is a case of they know the Dragon Slayer has something that can deal with dragons quite swiftly, similar to what Lacage did, as you informed them about, and that if they had dragons removed from the hold, it would make a power vacuum. Not to the case where they're scared of dying, it's more a case of if you kill 10 chancellors of the council, there's going to be a lot of issues trying to refill those positions in, and it's going to weaken different parts of the kingdom. So it's up to your party if you're willing to accept this mission and be ferried across to those with more information.
We promised Al we'd do so beforehand. As far as I'm aware, nothing's changed.
Yeah, we're already part of this, so might as well continue to do so.
Still up for it, Zarin?
Oh yeah.
Thought so.
My other map may have broken. Alright, we'll see what happens. Roll20 is having a day today. Alright, with everyone accepting Carthura's request, although more of a request via middleman of such, you will move to the center of his chamber. A dome of rock will come over you as you are taken underground and yet again ferried like a train underneath the surface along with your purple chocobos and carriage. You move a fast distance at incredible speeds, though thanks to the enclosed area, you feel very little in the way of inertia, as well as Carthura's magic keeping you safe and sound. Eventually, your group will not exactly erupt, but emerge back atop ground level, as the rock dome casing will unfurl itself and reveal you to the outside world. As hopefully the map will let me do this because it's being weird.
Just like that, they were gone.
Okay, it's loaded properly. If there's any issues, it's Roll20's fault because it's being weird with the map right now. As aside from local things, you can pick up on landmarks as well as your own knowledge of local. You will know that you have been ferried into West Company lands within the large town known as Renati. You appear within the city walls itself, as well as within the domain of Notreat. To the side, as if nobody saw you arrive, people go to and fro their business. The town is bustling with activity, as there is a colourful display of people. As you will notice, a good half, maybe more, percentage of the denizens are dragon-blooded to your best guess. You had heard about this place earlier, especially through that of Kuki, who had been the champion held by Notreat to go to the DST. Many people here, dragon-blooded, have undergone a bleeding ritual where they take in the blood of their draconic protector Notreat. It was explained before, but I'll explain it again. This would not count under the hatred from Lacage, as this is a gifted thing to the denizens, and so they wouldn't gain his ire. However, to this note, those that are dragon-blooded have either a prominent visual change because of it, or a more magical or powerful aura around them. As many people have vertical slit eyes, scales across their bodies, horns, pointed ears, tails, or talons. Not all at the same time, and some of them have more minuscule means, either just one or two scales here or there, or just their eyes on their own changed. It affects races that aren't normally like that, so the Aura and Gria have a bit more, but something like a Hume, you could tell they are a bit scaled, but they haven't changed species. Nobody seems to really pay this much mind, as, say, probably 2/3 of the people here are similar to this. Newcomers and passers-by do take a bit more of a scholarly glance at people to understand what is going on. And as you come out of the earth, a Gria, probably just about the same height as Al, to her shock maybe, or glee, will approach you. Greetings, Master Seasmore. Are you prepared to come with me to the estate?
Yes, indeed. I think we're somewhere in West Company. We've never been here before.
It is quite a distance from Carthura's domain, I admit, and especially for East Company dwellers, it is rare that you would come into West Company from previous issues we've had. But I assure you, you'll find no ill will here, sir. You're currently within the settlement of Renati.
This map breaking every time we move is going to be real annoying. Well, thank you for the kind welcome. Yeah, let's get to it. What do you need?
once we get to the estate of Hannah Drashgar, the governess will inform you of all the details. We'll be able to take control of your chocobos and carriage in the time being, and if your permission, we'll keep them clean and fed.
That seems fine.
Then this way, please. The Grier waves their arm as they will lead you through the town. A few people stop at the side of the street as they point and whisper amongst themselves, and everyone probably going to get it with all of their bonuses, as you can hear many people speaking amongst themselves, though it is a common thing that everyone here is speaking in Draconic. Thankfully, I'm pretty sure everyone in the party knows that as a common language. So you will understand that they are calling you by names as well as titles, and also referring to the bard song of when you cured that disease all that time ago back in Vullen. And it seems like many people are saying that Al seems taller than the stories, and Drazenka, they thought Drazenka was a hume at some point, and they're wondering why she now has fur on her skin. But aside from that, they talk about your trials and tribulations within Sateni that would have been more commonplace. They also ask what heroes are doing within this town so far away from home. Eventually, you'll come up to a large estate. The iron-barred gates open for you, and with hardly a noise. The greenery has been tapered to such an extent where it seemed like there would be monsters in the gardens, but it's this beautiful art made of shrubberies. Several guards move to and fro with similar draconic designs across them, as well as the familiar sight of the black mage dolls that you've seen in a few colourful bards up to this point. Moving into the estate, either by yourselves or by the butlers, you'll be cleansed and cleaned via cantrips, as you are led into a meeting room at the back. And I will hope you can see things on this map, because for me, it's completely dark.
I see She-Sylph and No Treat. Bunch of other people.
I
Nindrir.
see
White void.
Indra. Yep. I can see stuff.
Yep.
What did you say, G?
I see a white void. I will
A
reload.
white void? Oh boy. I mean, on my side, everyone just sees darkness, so it's a good thing that you guys, or at least 3 of you, can see things.
So you have the opposite of Thursday, where you can see more. Now
Nice.
you
Yeah.
can't see anything.
I will refresh just to see if it'll fix it for me. There we go, you now have vision again, at least on my side. G, can
Yeah.
you still see?
Yeah, I reloaded, so now I can see.
Alright. I think you should be able to see all of these name tags that are prominent. I'm just checking. Apparently you can't see
Yep.
cookies. I don't know
I
why.
was about to ask, is that Kooky across from us?
Yeah, we've got Kuki, Aristar, Hannah, Foy, No Tree, She-Sylph, Nindria. That's about it. Have we met Nindria?
Yes.
Yes. That's.
I
Didn't we
remember
get-
him from the other, like, short shot. I can't remember if we met them as our characters. Doesn't matter.
Where's the Dragons of Note? We've met this one before.
You have. Alright, if you don't recall from where you've met Ninja in this campaign, back in Vizuki versus Garuda, they gave you supplies at the base of Kokaitis Tower.
Oh, yes, they flew up and gave it to us there. Apologies, thank you.
Now to go to my notes. Okay. So yes, as you've clearly been able to see their name tags that you should be able to see, you see Aristat still within his human form. Kuki, whose token hasn't updated because it's not something I made. The scales across her arm have been cured away. as well as the dragon's she-sylph, who you saw atop the mountains near one of the necrotic areas that, assumingly, was part of the Naga issues before. No Treat, who's this domain you are currently residing within, and gave you one of the tasks in the DST, and was Kuki's patron. Hannah Drashgar, who is the Greer governess of this settlement, and Froyrai, who was a accompanying dragon who you met in the mountains within the volcano of Brenna, as Brenna was currently away at the time. And you know that Froyrai is kind of a steward. They're there for when Brenna is not around and basically speaks for her.
Like a seneschal.
Sure, you can go along with that. Aside from those with name tags, again, there are the Black Mage Dolls, as well as a few other adventurers here of varying vocations who seem all very skilled, and to your best knowledge, they would be well trusted. You can also hear the whirring of wind and the flapping of paper outside as a tome golem is doing the rounds. They're stomping another ice cream van. They're stomping volumes, don't make much noise underground as they are seemingly magically silenced. Just going to try and keep the ice cream van noise off the microphone. Alright, in terms of here, you're given drinks of your choice, from alcohols to hot beverages. And as you settle down, Hannah Drashgar will address your party. Greetings, Mercysmore. You have been summoned so that I could trouble you with a grand task. If it were a simple matter of a dragon slain, we could handle it. But many have been felled, and ancient ones too. It is dangerous for our protectors.
Thank you for your... Oh, God. You've heard.
We've come to lend our aid. What task do you have for us?
It is one that shall be quite challenging. As you know, there is a figure moving through the world. No title claimed and no allegiance declared. Yet, wherever they pass, dragons die. They are being referred to as the Dragon Slayer. I have gathered what accounts I can, and there is a pattern, though not one I can comfortably name as good or ill. Mask was the first of note, an old red dragon, infamous for striking settlements that lay beyond the protection of stronger domains. It did not conquer, it did not rule, it simply burned and moved on. It was found slain amidst the ash of its own making. Then came Turva, a mature black dragon, cunning in a way that made most attempts against it irrelevant. It dealt in secrets, contraband, and flesh. There are those who claim entire families vanished into its network, only to return as loyal servants to its will. It too was killed, its lair dismantled as though its empire had never been. Not long after, Kali fell, a very old green dragon. Steeped in necromancy, it did not merely hoard wealth, it weaponized legacy. Ancient crypts of noble lines were emptied, their dead raised and sent back into the world to pull strings that only the long dead should remember. Its end was thorough, and no remnants of its work have stirred since. Ton-A, followed an ancient white dragon. Though far from the mindless brutes such creatures are often mistaken for, it had a gift or a curse for domination. Other dragons, even powerful ones, bent beneath its will. It stripped them of autonomy and turned them into extensions of itself. When it died, several territories reported sudden, violent freedom among creatures long thought lost. Then Lanak, another ancient red. Though its ambition was stranger still, it sought to claim a volcano's essence, to twist its fire to something colder, something unnatural. Had it succeeded, entire regions would have frozen under a sky that should have burned. It never had the chance. The Slayer reached it first. And most recently, Tuve, a worm of the yellow kind. Already dangerous beyond measure, it had begun summoning primals, Rama-expected entities of immense power. Not to bargain with, but to consume. To take their essence into itself. Two such beings were drawn forth, and neither remains. Nor does Tuve. You see the pattern, I imagine. None of these were benign. None were protectors. Each, in their own way, preyed upon the world, upon people. Which would make this dragon slayer a savior, would it not? And yet, I find I cannot rest easy with that conclusion, nor our protectors. Because this is not justice as kingdoms enact it. There are no warnings, no demands, no chances for surrender or change. Only selection and execution. Who decides which dragon must die, and by what measure, and what happens when their measure shifts? There are dragons we have not accounted for, ones we cannot name or diagnose, but there are more than these few. If the Slayer judges all dragons by the worst amongst them, then we may soon find that no distinction matters at all. It is a slippery slope to target our lords and judge them from a single viewpoint. I do not know whether this figure is a necessary hand cutting rot from the world, or a blade that will not know when to stop. That is why we have told you all of this. The dragons ask that you find the Dragon Slayer, understand them, and, if you deem it necessary, kill them. Either way, we need to stop the massacre and find the reasons why. Because if no one does, then the only certainty we have is that the bodies will continue to fall, and we will not know whether to mourn or be grateful until it is too late.
On the wording of this, what do She-Sylph and Notary, and potentially Nindria, react to this at the mention of different dragons being killed? Are they aghast? Are they disgusted? Angry? You know, what's the... It seems like the dragons aren't doing the talking here, it's their representative.
He wants a vibe check.
Yes. You want a vibe check? Be a sense motive, please. In the case of She-Sylph, No Treat, and Nindria, as well as Froirai, you're pretty sure that they are informed about most of this already. It's more of a retelling for maybe your benefits, but when she does recount these deaths of dragons, you can especially tell that She-Sylph has a seething rage about the situation. No Treat is taking more of a taking it in kind of stance that they're listening intently. They don't give away much in the way of emotion. Whereas Nindria and Froirai are keeping a kind of neutral stance, but they do show that they're still annoyed at rehearing about dragons being killed.
Okay. You have explained that these dragons have been killed, and even stated yourself that several of these were dragons of ill repute. You say you cannot divulge some of the others or identify them. Is this through wishing to not make them known, or simply that you cannot know if they are dead or alive?
They were dealt with in a manner that no remains could be discerned, and many dragons have protections against certain magic. Once they are dead and there's very little left behind, there is nothing we can do to identify what they used to be.
And I take it reincarnation or other similar spells are impossible for these creatures.
Attempts were made on some of the corpses. Sadly, some were too old by the time they were found. Many of these have been years gone by and past what normal limitations we have for bringing back the dead. The ones we found closer to the death were still outside of the confines of a reincarnation.
I see. I will say this now in the company of those present. I'm sure many of you may have tried. I attempted to divine detail about the Dragon Slayer not too long ago. He, she, or it is protected by some kind of divination protection. Is this known to any of you?
Yes, it is. We have some documentation you can read over if you wish to do so.
This would be appreciated, thank you. Do you have any idea of their current location or whereabouts? It seems there is a pattern to their assassinations, but they're losing it present.
Hannah will wave to one of the Black Mage dolls as they will bring over booklets to each of you as you can peruse through them. The first page has a painting, you could say, of the Dragon Slayer. It's not done via magic or any other sites. It just seems like it is someone's rendition of what they have been told. As the document goes through all their details. And in the case of Jasta, you have to scroll down because there's text below the image. As it will detail that the Dragon Slayer, which is a moniker given by observers and not a self-appointed title, is a humanoid at around 6'6". But they have a lithe but muscular build to the best guess. They wear a full set of armor in dark blue and steel, with gold accents and a red cape around their neck and down to the back of their calves. The armor comes with a full helm that keep their features hidden, with 2 golden horns and 2 side dark steel horns. Only red light peers through the eye slits. A blue eye sits within their chestplate, which follows the movements of others, and seemingly halts most scrying magics. They wield a longsword of impeccable design, fusing many metals and highly enchanted, and has been said to overcome almost all forms of damage reduction, as well as destroying many material barriers in their way. The edges are coloured red and yellow with ground-up flowers. They are incredibly skilled with their blades, as they've been told to parry, riposte, disarm, trip, and destroy equipment with relative ease. No one has heard them speak fully, only a few command words here and there, most likely for items that they wield or have used. But their voice is modulated, so it is unknown if they are male or female. Their form also has shifting auras, meaning they are most likely polymorphed as well, so they don't look as they actually are. So they could be from a long list of species, but due to how some magics work, it is most likely that they are a humanoid of a core race or a base race. There are only a few accounts of discussions held with the Dragon Slayer, the main one between them and Lacarge, though you have been told about this before, as a truce was not formed, as apparently their ideals did not align. They have been known to have only killed dragons, drakes, and wyverns so far, as well as other creatures who are working alongside them. The Dragon Slayer has not attacked any settlements or parties outside of the dragons they slew. And lining up with some of the details you had heard from the airship some time ago, the first sighting of the Dragon Slayer was close to 8 years ago. The second was 4 years ago, with the third around 3 years ago at this point, with more sightings happening more often in the past 3 years. And to everyone's best guess, as well as the remains that they have found, the Dragon Slayer has slain at least 15 dragons.
Sorry, I had to step away for a second. I did read.
While this is a heavy task that we're being given, I feel like we would be up to it. I see that you want us to get to know them first instead of just hunting them down, so we're giving them more of a chance than they give the dragons they hunt, which I'm for. I'm just stating the facts here.
That is correct, as they seem to be quite a strong individual. Outside of the blade that lets them slay dragons, they require quite a high amount of skill to get around the protections that dragons have. To that point, we are not even aware if they are a lich or if they have other powers at play. If they are to be slain on sight, there is always the possibility that they might appear elsewhere. So killing them on the first time you can do so might not help us. It might delay them, but it's only going to delay the inevitable of another dragon's death. And if they are on some sort of vigilante crusade to rid the world of evil dragons, we need to know for sure that that is the case. As there are many dragons we have not been able to identify, we cannot say that this is for certain. Only the ones that we could identify were.
You state... Oh, go on.
Is there a plan in place for how we're supposed to meet up with this Dragon Slayer? Is there a particular target that we think might be next?
The allies found in this room have been conducting similar research. They'll also be conducting operations that will keep eyes and ears elsewhere, as well as spread rumors, trying to mix things up and make it easier on your team. We have a list of dragons that the Dragon Slayer might be going after next. However, through word of mouth and sight of eye, we can tell that the Dragon Slayer is in the direction of Violith. If you are to head there, you should be able to gain information amongst the populace, or even take foot to ground and follow tracks.
Edwin, you were about to say something here a minute ago?
Yes, I just wanted to confirm a point in this document. You state that the Dragon Slayer has said command words of various nature, but we are unable to identify their voice. Do we understand they are not only a master swordsman but a spellcaster as well, or does their spellcasting seem to be tied to items and equipment, as from this document they seem to be incredibly well equipped? I have a second point, but I'd like to ask that first.
We believe that their equipment is highly enchanted, if not holding a few artifacts. But when it comes to casting spells, we haven't seen much else in the way of their fighting style except from prowess with the sword. It is a good guess that they aren't a full caster, but they may employ items that replicate casting spells. As they are able to move quite quickly, it is a good guess they also have access to teleportation, though to what extent we are unaware.
Understood. And my second point, this Dragon Slayer, as you say, has incredible amounts of equipment and artifacts. Is there no paper trail, receipts, objects of purchase? If this entity is capable of teleporting or using consumable items, is there no record of them being sold, or does this Dragon Slayer have a benefactor we should be made aware of?
We have theorized that the Dragon Slayer has a faction working with or under him. His equipment has undergone repairs elsewhere, but we've not been able to track down who it's been done by. And so he most likely has allies. When it comes to what he has currently, many of them have similar descriptions to that of ancient gear held by heroes. So if he has not been crafted in their likeness, he has either gone to ancient tombs to recover them, or has entered areas of quite dense magic that would hold these. As both you and the Lady Drazenka are holding currently, you know that artifacts can also be formed out of the dying essences of primals, or even gifted by the deities. So there's also the chance that the Dragon Slayer has dealt with more than just the two that Tuve had summoned.
I see. Then I have one final question. During our time in the DST, there were several assaults by demons at members of my party. And I'm very pointedly not looking at Al when I say this. Does the Dragon Slayer have any connection to the demonic that you have documented? His appearance would imply yes, but I realise this may be a scare tactic.
It is entirely possible that the design of the Dragon Slayer's armor was not a choice, and merely how it was when they acquired it. When it comes to any connection to other planes, we don't believe they do, but there's always the chance. They've never attacked with allies at hand, it's always been them on their own.
Just for our understanding, when we saw a glimpse of the Dragon Slayer in the wrecking mines, did they look like that?
Yes.
Okay. And the dragon we saw them not kill, but like the remains of one, I don't think we could describe because it was just like a skeleton and some claws, if I recall correctly.
When you went down the hallway, you saw blood and scales. The dragon's body wasn't to be seen. You think they either took it with them or they destroyed it in such a way that they were just blood stains left.
Okay. I have a question then. Is it possible when the Dragon Slayer kills a dragon, it absorbs its power?
It is entirely possible. There are many in this world that want to take down dragons and take their power for their own. Such individuals don't last for too long, as a world full of dragons will find retribution upon them for doing so. But we don't have proof that they do. There is evidence that they could have, so you can work on the assumption that they have, but it's not a certainty.
I see. Then I only have the question of the dragons that have fought this entity, or those who have fought it before, are there any known weaknesses? It seems, from its description, this Dragon Slayer is a complete warrior, able to deal with both spell, ranged, and melee assault. Is there any kind of weakness we are aware of? Is that something we're going to have to find out?
So far, no prominent weakness has been seen. It has dealt with dragons of varying strength, both those that are dexterous or just strong of muscle, as well as those that command high magic, so it is quite potent at dealing with foes of varying types. We would hope that since it goes after dragons on their own, it might have an issue with several targets at once, but as nobody has fought and lived to tell the tale, it's hard to say for certain.
Understood. Thank you. Which point Edwin will sit back.
Do you happen to have, or Triseka, do either one of you happen to have access to magic negating magic?
If you're referring to something along the lines of a anti-magic sphere, no, that is of a different discipline. We can dispel, but that would be something we would need to purchase. I'll be honest. Go.
Might want to look into that.
I thought the same, but in truth, if this is a consummate warrior, the lack of magical enhancement may actually help them. But it's impossible to know.
It will also help us.
If a lot of the time for anti-magic stuff, it is in an area. So if you're attacking it, magic going into him would also just get nullified.
Yeah,
right.
It's a 10-foot radius, and if this guy is like as good up close as it sounds, they're gonna be fine compared to us.
I mean, me and Al are both also heavily warriors.
It would mean all of your magical items don't work as well. So all your enhancement won't work. Yeah.
Understandable.
But it's a choice. It's a thing. It might work.
Does anti-magic zone, does that affect artifacts?
Okay, it depends on the artifact.
Okay.
Yeah. When he says that, most of your artifacts will be unaffected, but you will have to ask specifically for which ones. The Shiva weapons will not be turned off by anti-magic.
The only one I was curious about was the Eye of Time Self.
I believe it would. Let me double check.
Okay.
The Eye of Time Self would not be turned off by anti-magic.
Nice. Okay.
Your sword would be.
Yeah, but it's still adamantine, which is all I really need.
It's just that if this guy has DR that isn't from magic, you might do no damage.
But I could break his equipment. I might need to go into Sunder for that, but you know. Sounds like he's already got that locked down on Sundering, but I have no equipment really to break, so.
You could break your sword.
That's true, he could. It would be a little bit more difficult because it is adamantine, but you know, it's possible.
You know that his sword is made of different types of metals. It could be adamantine as well.
Yeah, it's probably got some sort of adamantine in there.
Outside of that, the red and yellow hue of the flowers, you already know beforehand that is the hollow lily flower.
Right.
Which isn't, it's not magic in the sense of that anti-magic would turn it off. So if he does strike Ao in her dragon form, she's going to take a hell of a lot of damage because it'd be very similar to the crossbow bolts.
Right.
But she does have a slight resistance to it because she's already healed from it once.
Slight.
You'll be fine.
Well, I know that most of my class abilities don't get affected by anti-magic in the terms of the night stuff. I need to look up.
Also, the
Fencer stuff is a lot of the similar stuff too.
something to consider if he also does have artifacts, might be the same that
That's
us, that
true.
they might not be affected by the anti-magic then.
That is fair.
Depending on what he has.
Also, anti-magic does also turn off supernatural.
Right, it does supernatural and spell-like, but not
Extraordinary.
extraordinary. Yeah, which a lot of the night stuff is extraordinary.
Limit breaks are supernatural.
Yes,
so
they
be
are.
aware of that. But anyway, okay.
Also means that I wouldn't be able to be healed while I was in that zone. So it's a gamble for sure, going that route. But you know, having it in the back pocket wouldn't be a bad idea. While we're working on this, is there any resources available to us for training, help with like I don't know, anything like that?
Hannah will wave to one of another of the Black Mage dolls as they will move over a lockbox to you. We will not be able to aid you too much on the road, nor can we give you magical enchantments beforehand, as most of these will be done by the dragons to have any prominent change to your ability to take them down. Anything from anyone else that can be here, I believe, won't meet up to what you could do yourselves, as the Dragon Slayer has many defenses and detections versus dragons. If they are to help you, it might tip them off. But we have acquired these vials for you to use at your best knowledge, as you'll get 4 Mega Elixirs.
That would be quite useful. Yes.
Good to know. I think we group loot those for now. Is that fair?
Yep.
Alrighty.
No treat will also add. As my domain is quite adept at knowledge, you may make use of any of our libraries and their contents if you need to do any research ahead of time.
Thank you. That would be greatly appreciated.
But do we have any theories on where this person came from? Vague ideas of what they might be? Based off of their abilities, can we try to make a guess at what they are? Can I use like knowledge local to try to do that?
From what we can gather, they are towards the southwestern part of the continent in the way that they fight. Either a Inquisitor, or taught by one from the furthest reaches of Pardini, or even from Vatar Sapati.
Some sort of Inquisitor. Okay. What do we know about Inquisitors?
You encountered them before, and you also heard about them as well. The Inquisitors from Pardini are basically just your Inquisitor. They go around making sure the law is seen to and take down any dissenters. You saw them go towards or try and talk you into Stormscale Citadel, but since it or Emberclaw Refuge. one of the places of Owl's place, the 4 locations, they were asking you to go in there and essentially oust a vampire because it is a illegal creature within Pardini. But since Owl's 4 different communes are essentially independent states, you could say, they don't have to follow the rules of Pardini. They have to get along, but they couldn't just enter into the refuge and kill the vampire. You declined that request. And you also saw some in the desert after you helped some vampires who were getting beaten by the sun as they were retreating from Pardini and the Inquisitors because they just wanted to kill them just because. And you've heard about them just here and there. They're not evil. They're just very close to the lore of Pardini. So they are heavily versed against undead creatures, as well as just having a lot of magic. So very akin to a red mage.
So it's more of like a title than an actual class, right?
Yes.
Okay. Huh. Yeah, we've met their type before. Never really stood out to us as on the correct side of the way things should be. They were always very staunch supporters of their laws, regardless of whether they were humane or not. Is that sort of the same path that this Dragon Slayer seems to be on? They
Some
take
of
the
their
law into their
some
own
of their
hands.
fighting style is similar to the Inquisitors, so it is hard to say if they are or used to be one or was trained by one. But their path that they go down is similar. They keep to their lore and their oath. This one taking down dragons because they feel it is right, or otherwise. It could be that they were wronged by dragons in the past and only see all of them as the same.
They may also just see that dragons have nearly overwhelming power and authority in the spaces that they're in, and the ones that they don't agree with their rules, they want to protect others from it. So we kind of need to keep that in mind, especially if we're going to try to get in their good graces to figure out what's going on with them.
It will be something to keep in mind, yes.
When should we head out?
The next best time that would be suitable to you. If you are to be entering within a conflict with the Dragon Slayer, we also have something that could help in you overcoming their quick retreats. One of the other black mages will then cart over another lockbox to you. As within them, there are 4 more scrolls. well, I say 4 more. There are 4 scrolls, as there are 4 for a dimensional lock.
Dimensional lock. Nice spell.
Good. If this creature can teleport, we need a way of locking it down. While we can attempt to counter their items, it will lock up our abilities for some time.
Just out, not curiosity. What level spell is that? That is.
It's 8th.
Oof. So, what would be the UMD check for that?
I could probably do it.
What is your intelligence score?
It's like
Mine
10.
is 11.
Go to core intelligence.
You need
10.
to do 2 for that case. So 8th would be 17? No. 15.
15.
But then you have to actually use the scroll as well now.
Yeah. And you need minus 15 for 8 would be 33, I think. 15 plus 18, yeah, 33.
Yeah, that's doable.
So you need to do 2 rolls. One is to use the scroll, which is cast level. So it'd be 35, and then you need to emulate the ability score. For an 18, you need an 8, so it's 18 plus 15 for 33. And there are 2 separate ones. If you fail either one, you don't use the scroll.
Yep.
Could not make that first one with even
But,
a natural 20.
What we can do is if we learn the intelligence modification scroll that gives you a +6 enhancement, we may be able to avoid one of those.
That's also true. We could also just look for an intelligence enhancing item that would give you UMD as well, because I only have 1 point in it currently.
I have +19 to it. I have 10 ranks in it.
Let's see what would mine be if I had what level are we?
17.
17. So I would have +30 in it if I had max ranks.
Oh, because of class skill and other stuff?
Just charisma and circlet of persuasion.
Oh, yeah. Well,
You can also make one of your rolls a natural 20 with the item self.
That is so, I could just, casually roll a 50, whatever.
I have wasted my skills, but here we are.
Like I said, I have 1 point in it. It's not even a class skill either, so.
Why did you not put points in it this level?
I have 1 point in it.
Okay.
I have a +14. That's good enough for, most things. So that's something I might want to rectify. Go to FFd20. Magic guide.
We will thank them for that. We are once again at the mercy of single class spell lists, but here we are.
We have 2 classes. We have White Mage and Black Mage.
Yeah. So I mean, but like Dimensional Lock isn't even available to astrologers, for example.
Neither of us.
Yeah. So we can't even use the wisdom. Alright. Then we should probably get going. It seems like this threat is pressing. And from the looks of it, his attacks have ramped up recently. And I know we have several members of our party who have a personal stake in this. Do you have a settlement or location in mind to begin with? We can teleport there now.
Yes, you should head towards Violet.
Violet, apologies, you mentioned that earlier.
Do we not want to make use of the libraries while we're here?
We can do that. I'm just saying we can skedaddle to Violet pretty soon. Yeah, we can look into it. The problem we have is that the more we look into the Dragon Slayer, we still can't divine anything from them. But we can try and have a look.
Oof. Maybe we should. What would it cost to add 2 intelligence to a headband with a +6 charisma on it?
Is it just a +6?
It's just a +6 charisma only, so.
To add +2 intelligence, it is 6,000 gil and 6 days.
Jesus Christ, okay.
You can pay half extra to get it done in half the time.
I was more talking about the cost.
Well, it is Jesus because you spent all your money.
Yeah, I know. I just spent all my money, so I don't have any left. I don't think anybody else has enough left for that type of stuff anyways, so. Oh, boy.
There is so much in the group loot, but they are allocated to specific people.
Nice broken image link out.
Sad times. I put it in Discord anyway.
You just don't hear the clinking from your bag.
Nope.
No, it's in a dimensional storage. Why would we hear clinking?
I've got 6k, though, to be fair.
No, you've got what? Almost
3k.
4?
No, 3. Wait, no, it is almost 4.
I put 600 back in to the group loot. I don't know if anybody else has got much left. Yeah, I think everybody spent almost all of their money.
Pretty much.
Well, we might need to pick up a couple odd jobs to gain some money to do that sort of thing. But anywho. So are we staying here and using the libraries, or are we just popping off right now?
We'll stay here for a day, make the research we can, and then move on.
All right. Miss Hannah, do you know if there's any good bathhouses in town?
You may make use of my estate for your time here. We do have several bathrooms you can make use of.
Awesome.
If there is anything else you require, feel free to come to me for it. Otherwise, the persons here shall be dispersing to their separate tasks. Does the party have anything else they wish to speak with the people here about?
No, Cookie seems in good health. I think Edwin would just drop her a nod to see that she has used the bolts to the best of her ability. Aristat, I can only assume, has other jobs to do. Yeah, nothing really streaks to mind.
I mean, Aristat's got centuries of information in his head. We could probably talk to him a little bit too about what's going on and where good places to research are.
By all means. Cookie is also from this domain and would probably know the same.
Yeah.
If you do get around to shifting, Aristat will pull you to the side your party as he wishes to discuss things with you.
What's going on, buddy?
It's good to see you all in good health and able to be relied upon for such dangerous tasks. I was about to think they might be asking me, my undead, to do all of this dragon slayer.
Would you be opposed to that?
Not entirely opposed, but been dead once. I'd like a few more decades with a living body before I lose it again.
Who's to say it must be a deadly encounter? Taking from face value, this Slayer seems to only go against dragons who abuse their powers.
What we were able to gather, yes, but over half the victims couldn't be identified. We can only pray that that is the outcome. Speaking of slayed dragons, however, I did have further information if you're still curious about the Karif business.
Certainly. What did you learn?
Moving about the plane, I did have some requests towards the north. I think you heard that I was working under the command of Lif for some time. As it seemed the waters were having another issue with space for denizens. A lot of the lost to time species had been revived, it seemed, but not coming out as babes from eggs, but instead ones that were around a few hundred years ago, just coming back into the oceans. There was an event so much time ago where, similar to what the Nagas were talking about with Zira breathing flames into the ocean, a creature did something else and made it so that many species became extinct. Those coming back, the grief being able to have their souls pass on to wherever they go, I was also able to find some other people have come back to life. To that end, Dame Ariel from Mirahold has been also revived. I believe you might have heard that she was killed by Lacage during the DST.
We had assumed so, but had no other proof than his own writings.
There's also been quite a few other contestants in the DST, and even many of the miners and nearby civilians to the other zones that have also come back. I thought I might have been requested to do so, but a benefactor of the DST had made themselves known towards the start or maybe even the middle of the first task. I talked with some people, followed the magical ley lines, and whilst we may be losing dragons, we've also gained at least one back into the fold. As it seems that Tia Maraxa has come back to life.
Do you have any understanding as to how they did this? When we last encountered them, they were using heinous ritual to do so.
Who do you mean by they?
Timarax.
I don't believe Team X had much in the way of pull from the other side. The way that they were dealt with, they had no more connection to the material plane. A ritual site I was able to find near the Academy of the Arcane Flame, though. That might be what you're speaking of.
Indeed.
Able to speak of the Eagles and Garith there, and it seems there is a sort of new forming of religion surrounding the long dead but now living again dragon.
Definitely a look at Kuki at this, because they were one of the people kidnapped for that particular moment.
As to the previous question, have you figured out how these people and Timarax have returned?
Well, it was all because of Timarax, it seems. He is a master of life and undeath, and it seems like many obstacles that we face, he doesn't have to. Many of the ones that were dead were brought back by him. And as far as I can tell, no necromantic auras or illusion or anything is present, so they are just alive and allowed to do what they wish. As it comes to Timarax's comeback, it seems whatever ritual was being undertaken to bring them back, even if partially, just took some more time to see through. He is just alive again. To what extent, I'm unaware. Doesn't seem to be as powerful as the tales spoke of, but the tales are 3 centuries old at this point.
Sounds plenty powerful to me, the way he's bringing people back to life.
And with no regard for the time between their death.
There are only so many concerns about time, it's more a concern about space. We had that issue of the Naga because the ocean could no longer contain them, or provide for them, as it seemed their biology had changed to the extent where they come from was no longer their home. Where Timarax is bringing people back, however, I've not seen much in the way of ill intent. He's only been bringing back people that don't cause a ruckus. Mostly those that were bystanders to the DST or victims of the more aggressive members of the competition. I haven't been able to contact him though. But I've never had contact with Timarax before. His was before my time. If I'd lived for another century, I might have been able to speak with him. Outside of that, though, as I say, they were able to talk with the other dragons involved with the DST. To what extent beyond that, I can only theorize. But he didn't win. You guys did, and you know the rest of those who got parcels of land from it. I just thought you'd let you know. You did ask and talk about this with me before. Since I have a closer connection to death than most people, I was better suited to investigating it.
Well, appreciate talking with us.
Yes, much appreciated indeed. As a side comment, I don't think we were directly told Darius that we were involved. Did we?
I don't think you ever told him you were at the Timorax temple, or you
Yeah.
did anything to the ritual. You just asked him about the Garif souls passing on and everything because he was also talking about it.
Possibly not, but that's what
Yeah,
everyone's
I don't.
aware of. It's just last time we encountered them, there was a bad ritual. Didn't say where it was. Didn't say what it involved. It's what it is. Just strange they are able to return from death.
That is everything I had to inform you about, unless you had any further questions about this situation, or this Dragon Slayer business.
Just some good information on what to research would be nice. But it's not really, as far as I'm aware, your area of expertise. So if you don't have anything for us, that's also fine. We just like hanging out with you too.
It's nice to have some living friends during another time where I'm living. Sadly, there's very little I can tell you about the Dragon Slayer that hasn't already been spoken about. I did bring information about the Pardini tactics, but aside from that, I can't give much advice to what you'd want to be researching. That's all come down to you. The West Company lands are quite wide and very similar to other regions, heavily filled with desert. Violif is about half a week away with how fast your chocobos are.
Can't really think of anything else right now. I think we're gonna go hit some libraries before we take off, right, Edwin?
That was the intent, yes. We need to establish if there is any links to pre-establishing artifacts the Dragon Slayer is using, any kind of understanding of their origins in this original dragon's death, which may be linked to their antics, and any kind of understanding of their fighting style, maneuver, or projected path. If you have any recommendations for this, Aristar, to be greatly appreciated.
Or just another set of eyes helping us look at the books. Always appreciated as well.
I am to be going quite southwestward. I'm needed in the domain of Garlemegdon. I need to make some waves, as it were, amongst the sand. Keep some attention away from your party and make it look like the Dragon Slayer's not being hunted.
As far as I'm aware, nobody except for Carthura, the people of Haddowwood, and the people in this room know that we're anywhere other than Haddowwood, so
We are quite high-profile people now.
that is true.
Our movements will be noticed, for good or bad.
Hence why we need to make it a bit louder than your footsteps.
I think, yeah, in our end, we'll try not to make our intentions too obvious, but, well, truth be told, our group is not exactly known for subtlety.
You know, but we could always rephrase the way that we're coming at it. Like, we're not hunting a person. We could just be going after a dragon that has overstepped itself and needs to be, I don't know, knocked down a peg.
It's a good enough as any cloak. Dragons have been hunted before. I've certainly had a bounty or three to take down in my time. It's not unheard of, but normally we have to go through processes for these things.
Well, what kind of process is it?
All of mine have been guild associated. A dragon causing too much destruction or breaking too many laws and going beyond whatever station they did hold. None with large enough domains, but drakelings, mature ones and whatnot. They've mostly been marked for death, not just killing because you might have seen them do something bad. One or two might be fine, but over a dozen, that's too worrying for most people.
Well, who knows if their goals are gonna stay the same either. Like, if they decide that the laws don't apply to them because they're the ones upholding the law, then, they might go out of their way and do something even more heinous.
That is the main worry. If they were to be working under a system that properly investigated the targets, it would be fine. But as far as we can tell, they're not taking commands from anyone that is talking with us.
It is curious if they are truly doing this out of some good intents, then why are they going outside the established system and doing things on their own?
Everything falls through the cracks eventually. Many of these dragons could have been avoiding sight and lore up until their deaths, and it was fully investigated afterwards. Maybe they didn't like how long it took for the processes to take.
It's possible.
We'll have to
But
hope that you can converse with them.
Indeed. This is what we're here to find out after all.
I wish you good luck in that endeavor then. Though I'm sure you have more Davic power than luck on your side.
Good balance of a bit of both. Good luck on your travels as well.
I shall see you at the end.
We'll hold you to that.
Aristat will leave.
I believe Edwin and Siren, you were the ones already looking. Kentau as well. You all three, more than myself, were already looking into the Slayer. Where should we begin?
The unfortunate truth is there is very little information on the Slayer from standard means. Divination has failed. However, we've been given a little bit more understanding of their methodology, weaponry, style, as it were. I think we can begin with looking into those who have taken artifacts in the realm that match the description, be it the armor, the sword, the helm, or otherwise, we can then move on to potentially those who were known before they were able to find these artifacts. It's very possible this warrior had the capacity to be known even before their ascendancy, or descent, depending on your view. And then we need to look into patterns. Are they moving in a certain direction, or are they simply taking targets of opportunity for what some would call evil dragons? Those have been my thoughts.
Yeah, you can certainly do some research into what they are using. You'll also have help from Hannah, as well as No Treat's libraries. They might even be able to tell you about some of them, though it will be a case of both research and communication, just so you can clearly identify everything rather than just what they believe them to be.
Yeah, more like just corroborating what they tell us, really.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the hope.
Alright. As the party is going to spend some time here to research their next target, either be a target for talking or a target for killing. That'll be for another time, as we will end the session there and see if you can find out much in 2 weeks.